Hey everybody, it's Mars from Rod and Grill, and today we're going to be baking a nice sourdough rye. I'm going to throw the ingredient list and the instructions down in the description below. Let's get going and check it out. So we're going to start off with 325 grams of bread flour. Now add 125 grams of light rye flour. Now weigh out 50 grams of your favorite dark rye. I'm using 15 grams of kosher salt. That seems to be the sweet spot for me. You can adjust it up and down depending on your taste. Now let's weigh out 6 grams of caraway seeds. I grind them up a little bit for more even distribution throughout the entire bread. Give the dry ingredients a quick mix. Now we're going to add 100 grams of the sourdough starter to 325 milliliters slightly warm or room temperature water. Give it a quick mix. Cover and set it to the side to Autolyse. Set your timer for an hour to let that dough rest. Once your hour is up, it's time for your first set of stretch and folds. I use a little bowl of water to keep my fingertips wet so the dough isn't so sticky. Set a timer for 30 minutes and let it rest. Now it's time for your second set of stretch and folds. This is number 2 out of 4. Cover and set your timer for another 30 minutes. Time for stretch and fold number 3, where I'm also going to check the gluten development. The dough tears a little too easy, so we know that the gluten hasn't developed yet. This time we're going to let it rest for an hour before doing our fourth and last stretch and fold. Time for our fourth and final stretch and fold. We can see that the gluten development is much better than last time, so this final rest should take it the rest of the way. Now it's time to prepare my container for the bulk fermentation. I add a little bit of olive oil and spread it around just so the dough doesn't stick so much. I learned this technique from Soon over at Food Geek, and it seems to work pretty well. It's a little cool out today, so I'm going to mark it for a 50% proof with a dry erase marker. If it was a little warmer out and the ambient air temperature was 75 or higher, I would probably probably only bulk ferment into 25%. And here we go. It took about 2.5 hours for bulk fermenting up to 50%, but she's looking good. It's time to preform, so we're going to stretch it out a little bit and fold it over itself a couple times, and then flip it over and kind of roll and pull it toward yourself just to kind of form a decent skin on the upper surface, on the top. Now you can use a bench scraper like I'm doing right now, and I'm not really good at it. I do like using just my hands, but to get the initial ball going, I do use the bench scraper, and then you'll see how I switch to just using my hands for the rest of it. What I'm doing is I'm actually pushing out and pulling my fingers under, so it's kind of forming that nice surface tension on top, and that's what we want, because now we're just going to let it sit for about 20 minutes and we're going to come back to do the final form. While it's resting, I prepare my broth form or banneton, whatever you call it, but I'm using rice flour to help prevent any kind of sticking from inside the form itself. Everyone has a different technique, but this is what works well for me. I dust the top with a little bit of rice flour, and what I'm going to do is flip the dough over and then stretch it out a little bit gently. You don't want to pull all that air out, and then fold in the corners. Now we gently flip the dough over and use our hands to form it into a nice, neat little ball. Just be gentle with it. Again, gently pick up the dough, flip it over, and put it into the basket. Because my refrigerator has a tendency to dry out the dough a little too much, I put it in a plastic bag. Just that helps retain some of the moisture. So we're going to keep it in there for 8 to 12 hours. After the 8 to 12 hours, we're going to preheat the oven for 485 Fahrenheit, 252 Celsius. After your oven has hit its target temp, you want to let it sit for about another 30 minutes. Then you can pull your dough from out of the fridge, and you're going to dust the top with a little bit of rice flour to also help prevent sticking on that side. Score the dough with either a bread lame or a serrated knife at a 45-degree angle. Put your dough in the oven and bake for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, remove the top and lower your temperature to 435 Fahrenheit, 224 degrees Celsius for about another 10 to 15 minutes. Right now we're just baking to color, so keep your eye on it. You know, I've baked a lot of bread and it still amazes me every time it comes out looking like this. Nice color, good rise to it. I mean, the crust looks beautiful. It's just amazing. It's amazing what we can do. Crust looks great. Let's slice it open and see what the crumb looks like. Nice tight rye crumb, very much suitable for sandwiches. It looks delicious.